ready, we ready, we ready for y'all. We ready, we ready.
Hey, if y'all think you are going to learn about agents and chat GPT and all the things of the latest, you are tuned into the wrong place. That
Which is
little
such a
bit
bummer for me.
such
Good
false
disclaimer. Good disclaimer.
such false advertising, but almost false advertising. So we think about artificial, and it is you can't go an hour without hearing AI or something around there. And we get inundated a lot with the latest version of whatever that might be, and the tools and the tricks and how you can save time and do this and do this and do that. I'm on the laggard side of all of that. But ultimately, what that is doing is creating this groundswell of readiness, and and as potentially the next evolution, not just in your business, but in yourself, and how you're thinking about, I think, how your mindset about how you're going about your life. Is that too grand? Is that hyperbole? Why are you smiling, Kenny? Look like you want to say something.
Well, personally, if this were a conversation about chatbots and all of the things, I would be extremely excited. Nevertheless, um, I understand that we're all in a different place, but I'm an early adopter, especially in technology, right? And you, my dear Rubinsky, I'm surprised you're not on the earlier, like, pendulum of adoption with this, just because you're such a person who has a bias towards action, and there's so many things that you could do to create space in your life for other things if you were an early adopter. So this is going to be a really interesting conversation, especially when we start to talk about change and people opting out, and what does this look like from a leadership perspective. I'm super geeked for today.
EJ, that was a bad transition. You're not the
That
geek
way
of
I was like, really?
the
That's
geek of the group. You're not the geek of the group. I take it back.
so it's funny because I think about this. You're artificial. It's beyond, this is beyond technology. It's beyond all of those things. And I think that's a piece of it. But it's, when I think about this more as, do you have the will to be unrecognizable? Do you have the will to kind of step out and become something that people aren't traditionally thinking or expecting you to show up and to be? So that's where my mind's taking me today.
Say that again. Are you prepared to what?
Are you willing to step out and be either this person on the inside who you always knew was there, and let go of the persona or the person or the image or the artifact where people have been seeing you? What are you prepared to do?
Mm. Mm. I mean, what if because that sort of implies that you had some sort of artificialness going on, right? But what if it's just an evolution? What if it's you just evolving into who you are today? Because what is required today is different than what was required yesterday and the day before that.
I mean, that's the $1 million question right there. what does happen with that? How do we get to a different place with that? And who are you showing up as?
Yeah, I think I find the question very provocative in that we think about other catapults in change for us in recent times. I still feel like I'm in a COVID coma and just how odd, and we were forced to do so many things differently, right? In terms of homeschooling. Thank God I did not have kids at all. In terms of how we view healthcare and working from home,
I'm starting to
God
get the
forbid we
shakes.
work
I'm
from
starting
home.
to get the shakes. I'm starting to
I
get the
know,
shakes. Keep going.
I
All
know.
right.
But I mean, just there were so many things that had to change because we were forced to. And I venture that the catalyst of technology and AI replacing kind of the tasks that we're used to and catapulting our I know I mean I do use like Chat GPT. Like that is my girlfriend right now. That's my girlfriend, my wife. I mean I
And
love
my mistress.
and my mistress. Um yeah, it's a time saver. And it's also for those why I call myself a laggard. I mean, I would still have the first iPhone if it was still working. I only change when it stops working. And so for me, I think you have to change. This is one of those scenarios where you need to get on board or you need to figure out something else to do with your life.
Mm.
One girl's opinion.
I mean, I'm there, right? But again, this is me in my happy space. I'm like, oh, this is so awesome. There are so many things that we can do. Um, but I do, for the people who are struggling to sort of adapt and adjust to it, I feel like, is this going to be the thing that you plant your flag on, your die on the hill issue that you choose not to get on board with? And it becomes the thing that sort of ends something you're doing, whether that is the job that you have, the career that you're in, whether it is being as effective as you possibly can. Um, I feel like people need to figure out what their thing is and what gives them the will to change so that they can move forward and sort of create their new normal, which is what we were all forced to do with COVID and then after COVID, right? And I think living in this post-COVID world, where there are certain people, some of them are trapped in the nope, this is what I'm adjusted to now. I like this is what I'm going to do going forward. And there's some people that are very excited to go backwards to what they were doing beforehand. And so I think you're always going to have that dichotomy. And so how do you find the will to navigate in a successful way in the future? And I think that's the big question, right? What does that look like for you?
I think so to me it's an inner conversation around change readiness, right? Where does that will come from? And sometimes you're going to have to be a prisoner. um and I think this is probably one of the if you're feeling discomfort around, oh, what is this going to do? Natural discomfort is I think makes sense. That's normal. But if you're feeling this discomfort in a way that you're just wanting to hold on to today or yesterday, I think you'll find that a very short order opportunities for you in the future. And so it's the question: are you resisting AI? Are you just protecting your comfy blanket? And stepping out into some of this unknown. And let me just do this disclaimer. I should have said that, the AI is not the great messiah and it's going to solve and fix all the things. It definitely is
It's
a
not.
launching pad. I'm so sorry. That's another podcast.
And it's been here forever, you guys.
How about that? How about
No,
that?
it's not. It got here last year when
No,
Instagram said go to ChatGPT and somebody said here are the tools, here are the prompts that you should put in to do that. That is when it was invented. I don't know why you're trying to say something different.
it is not the furthest thing from the truth. You have been using artificial intelligence, whether you knew it or not, whether it was called by name. You have been using it for a very long time.
Right, right, right. So yeah, so it's a this willingness, this readiness that I think that is, and I think what gets kind of people stuck is this notion around there's so much. I was at a conference last year, and there was an amazing human that had this this conversation around. It was a fascinating conversation, but it was a lightning rod of all the things out there under the umbrella of AI, and it was overwhelming. You can use this for that and do this for that. I'm like, oh my God! It reminds me, we're all in healthcare. It reminds me fragmented healthcare. And so, you go here to get this doctor, you go there to get this, you go here to get that. They're not talking to each other. And so for me, I think some of that comes with, I don't know where to go. I don't know how to start. I don't know what I don't know. I don't know if it's legal. I don't know what to trust, and I can go on and on and on. And that's usually from a change resistor. And that's not me, but usually as a change resistor, it's because it's this, I might be exposed.
Mm-hmm. So it's funny.
And I should say also, no one is an AI expert. I don't care who they are. They might be AI versed and at longer down the runway, but to your point, Kennedy, we've been doing this for a while, and I think there's so many untapped areas of where we should go. Now go.
Well, you said a word, and I think that kind of triggered this, all of the aspect of this conversation for me. You said trust. What do you trust? And so much of going into this AI landscape is about trusting something, trusting someone, trusting an expertise, trusting in something that is outside of you. And so when you're talking about, am I going to lean in here? Am I going to lean in there? Will I act, when I'm wrestling with, at first I said, okay, they said ChatGPT, you and me are going to be fast friends. I'm going to linger because, I don't log into anything. So I'm going to linger like they can't find me that way. In the background and in the shadows and, test things out that way. And then, my friends on Instagram and on LinkedIn and what have you, who started sending me, I was like, ooh, how many of these services are there? And then starting to kind of dip in and play. But there's that space that is, what do I trust? Who am I trusting? Am I really going to give my information? My email? I'm not going to give you my email. Am I going to give you my credentials, right, to get in? And then how are you going to track me? What does that look like? What's all the talk that I'm going in? Why, the why, and building all of these things and building this deep-rooted skill set to engage in all of these spaces, but still having a bit of a fear because you're not trusting the underpinning systems. And back to your point, Ken, at the end of the day, there is nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
No.
And been playing in this space. So it is, do you jump in, full on, or do you stay in this space of the wait and watch and see game?
So as a person who dabbles in multiple tools, right? I've built agents and working on a great clone who's actually starting to do the things I need her to do. I think it's fascinating that there's a question of trust and whether or not you would put your information in here, right? When there are so many areas and agencies and companies who are recording everything you do already. I mean, every keystroke you have in the phone that you use every day, right? Whether it is on your girlfriend ChatGPT or my favorite, which is Claude, they're tracking everything. If you book a flight online, they know exactly where you're going to be and when you're going to be there. If you check in with an app and a QR code to that flight, they know that there's so many different ways that we are being tracked. And so it's interesting to me that people trust the things that they feel like they need. And maybe it's the need rises above the level of distrust. So then therefore you move forward with it. Whereas this is, you don't feel like you need this, but I'm gonna say that we do. I'm gonna say that we actually need to find ways of optimizing our time and our creating more efficiencies. And so therefore we need artificial intelligence. Now, for me, the more we use it, the better it gets, the more humanized it becomes. That can be dangerous at some point if it starts to take over, but we're not there yet. But it needs to become humanized, because when we started conversations about artificial intelligence, I was worried about the bias that was built into it, because people like us weren't using it, right? And there was so much bias built into what existed in these multiple language models. And so I feel like the more we use it, the better it gets, the more inclusive it will become. And we can find ways to do good with it. It's just like every other tool. It's just like, people always ask the question, do you think social media is a horrible thing or is it a good thing that we have it? And it's like, it's a tool. How you use it determines whether or not it's good or bad. So same thing is true for artificial intelligence.
It's interesting you mentioned the human component. We were having this conversation in my firm yesterday around artificial intelligence, and we all read the news where folks are eliminating roles, more lower level roles, and so some are talking automation, some are not being even as explicit with that. So I asked the question of some of the folks that in my office, who's here worried about their job going away? And a few hands went up, and I said, good. And my charge to them was actively try and eliminate your job loudly, and then find ways as you free up time, because you're going to be the best hacker of what you're doing. No one knows you're closest to your work than somebody 2-3 steps away. And then, finding ways to get closer to the human, because I still think that you will never be able to substitute to reading the room. Now, there are real humans who can't read the room, but you get what I'm saying. To be able to read the room, I still think that from again being in healthcare, the three of us, that I still think at the end of the day, while you can do surgeries with a robot, while I'm here in DC and the person is in a whole other country, there still is somebody in that room, because right now I can't administer the drugs myself. I can't put the IV in myself. There's things like that I think you will never fully be able to dehumanize that experience in many different. We just picked on healthcare, and to me, the opportunity is, what is a time suck that allows us to get closer to humans. And I think that's the exploration that businesses, as leaders, we need to be thinking about. And then as we think about our own evolution, it's one of these things where we all think about all the meetings. When do you have time to think? And finding ways to hack your role where you can actually use that brain cell once or twice is, I think, a gift, an absolute gift.
I love where you went with that, because we've had the conversation. I've had the same thing. Staff, members of the team, whoever's saying, I am afraid, potentially that AI will replace me. Right. And, the question that I asked, which is different than the one you asked, would, so you're seeing this coming. If you're afraid, that means that there's an inclination that you saw it coming. So what are you going to do about it? Mm-hmm. And you gave some really tangible, okay, so what are you going to do about it? But that's a question. If you see it coming, how do we move from a place of paralysis? And I think AI gets people there, because it's this unknown. It's this So you go to your place of fear, right? The fear of the unknown. And how do you move more to the nope? This is not fear. This is exhilaration. And if not, I'm not a little uncomfortable and feeling a little exhilarated, oh my God, look at what I can create.
Yeah. And I think
This
that's
company.
exactly where I went because I am in one of those roles where eventually there will be a huge presence of artificial intelligence that can do a part of my role as the head of federal regulatory change, right? When we look at regulatory analysis and just being able to read through 800 pages of regs that come out from the federal government. And I'm doing that every day, all day for multiple regulations. I am thrilled at the idea that I can create an AI agent that can read those regs for me. But what that agent can't do is he cannot synthesize what that means to my organization in a way
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
enables that organization to create change and action.
Mhm.
There needs to be someone who understands all of those things plus what's coming and what we've already done in the history. And sure, you can upload a bunch of documents to create a brain trust within the system to hopefully guide and direct some of that, but there's nothing like a human touch. I am thrilled that the human touch will be a little bit less than it has been in the past, so that that time can be focused on something that is, I won't say more meaningful because it's extremely meaningful, the work that we're doing, but there are other things that we need to solve that only human brains can do. And so I'm thrilled, right?
Yeah.
I've completely moved away. And how do you get there?
Right.
I think that's why I decided I'm going to start taking these. Harvard offered some free classes in AI and healthcare, and I was like, bet I'm there. And every time I can pick up a new skill in AI, I pick it up because guess what? Someone also has to manage what comes out of AI. It doesn't just get to operate on its own and take over. Someone has to shift from managing people who are now doing the work to managing the agents who are processing the workflows that you've now created efficiencies in. And if you don't really understand how it's all created, you can't really manage that. So I feel like the thrill of learning something new, doing something new, supersedes the fear of my job's going to be threatened based on what's coming.
I
It's,
love
oh, go ahead.
I was
Go
just
ahead.
gonna say I love where you went. I just want to piggyback on that a little bit. And I did yesterday and I snapshotted it just so I could say it today. So you gave shout out to Harvard. I'm gonna give it to some other people. But where there are free AI courses that fit every professional need. Free. Did you hear me say free? You know that's my language. That's my love language. Free. So Google AI, Microsoft, Harvard, Vanderbilt, OpenAI, Google Cloud, EDX, all of them are offering free courses, free certifications. Use an alias. Your name can be Shantiqua Monet Ramsey, and that's who you go on as. If that's what you want to learn, create a whole alter ego, and that'll be your AI learning alter ego. But what do they say? And all you're getting, get understanding, get some.
Oh, okay. Well, let me do something a little different. Speaking of the thrill, I have a series of lightning rod questions I'd love for you girls to answer.
Oh Lord.
It's scary. So, first one, AI scares leaders who.
Are afraid of change.
Ding 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 ding.
Okay.
Like to stay
Women.
in their leadership seat.
Ooh, it's comfy. The way my right and left cheek just hugs the seat. Women don't lack skill; they lack.
Opportunity.
DJ.
Oh, is that for me?
Both you guys can
Both
answer.
of us, and I could keep going on that. And I would say,
I could really keep going.
Okay.
They lack sponsors.
Ooh. The AI will expose leaders who.
Lead by an iron fist and do what I say.
who lack knowledge in their own space and take from others and represent it as their own.
Who lack emotional intelligence.
If there's anyone else. answer, but
Oh, you didn't say that. You didn't say that. You didn't say that. I got a few. I got a few. Okay.
okay. So last one. The most overrated leadership trait right now is overrated leadership trait.
Uh,
Ooh, I have
lack of
one.
autonomy for their staff.
What did you say? I'm sorry.
Lack of autonomy for their staff. The leader who feels like they need to know everything before you can move forward and make a decision, that person,
Yeah.
outdated.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Give your
Uh,
staff some power. Let them go do what they need to go do.
Absolutely.
yeah.
These
Absolutely.
people in, they need to
Yeah.
operate at their highest skill set. They need to be
Listen.
rewarded for their intelligence. That is what you pay them for. Let them go do it.
Say it louder for the people in the back. I think that's there's a kissing cousin to that around, I was gonna say most overrated leadership trait right now is the pursuit of perfection.
Mm,
That part.
that part. I mean, that's, I think, also a overrated trait of organizations,
Listen,
right? Because you create this culture where there's a fear of failure, and failure is how we learn. Failure is how you actually develop something amazing. Failure is how you innovate. And so if you're always so afraid to fail at something, you're going
Mine,
to stay pretty stagnant.
mine piggybacks on both of yours. Get past the image. Stop imagery. I don't care what it looks like. What's actually happening?
I think that's a perfect around our dude something around lead imperfectly. I think the best thing we can do as leaders is, I love that stock image. And to me, and do it by example. And that is so freaking uncomfortable. Like, wait, what? No, I don't want to expose that in front of this room of people. Like, you will have such greater respect for people when you have a public oopsie and own it, then right. And then I think, I also think that the converse of that is perfection is why there's such resistance to anything new. It's like, I'm kind of comfortable in my little comfort zone. The second thing I'd pull out is that, this is, I think EJ and Kennedy, you both were calling out this experiment publicly, and which is also related to this lead imperfectly out loud and free. So there are free spaces for to get your game up with respect to AI. I will admit to the overwhelmingness of of that. It is just like too much. It's too much. But I think just starting with something. Mine was Chat GPT.
I got one for you.
Yeah.
Reclaim your time. Reclaim it. And I say that, just imagine if your job, if you gave AI 50% of your job to handle, to manage, to do the grunt work, that stuff that you don't even really want to do, that you streamline it. What would you do with that extra time?
Man.
Reclaim your time. What is possible?
I mean, you probably would just have a moment to breathe because we're all operating over capacity as it is, right? So when we think about the fact that, what is it, 42% of the workforce claims to have experienced burnout. Well, guess what? If we were reclaiming our time, maybe we'd have a lower statistic on the people who feel burnt out. And then therefore production goes up, productivity, like creativity, all of the things that we bring people into organizations for, you get more out of.
I could not agree more. I think that this is it's one of these things where it's exciting, it's scary, it's much needed change. And as you mentioned, Kennedy, this is not new for us. I think we're just giving it a lot more airtime. And as time evolves, we'll continue to do that. And my wish for folks is to find that way to hack your job away and find a way to have a moment of thought to get closer to the people that you supposedly serve, whether you're leading those folks and or your customers who you are supposed to serve.
Absolutely. And guess what? I reclaimed 30 minutes because this is actually my decoy. You didn't know.
Your decoy? Is that what we call a new bot?
Clone.
I'm
Okay.
sorry. You
All
use
right.
your language, I use mine.
I don't have it. But all right, I'm out.